Hello and welcome everyone to this first live session for this course, Introduction to Political Theory, and I'm Mithilesh Kumar Jha. I'll be happy to respond to any questions or comments you have related to this course and its content. So you are welcome to share your thoughts and raise your doubts or questions. Those of you who are joining through YouTube, you can also type your questions there. I'll be very happy to take them up during this live session. We are going to have two more live sessions after this. So I'll encourage the learner to join me for the live session and also use the link, MS link, to share your thoughts and give your feedback about the course. So you are welcome to join and share your ideas. But if you are using YouTube, do type your questions or comments as soon as you can, so that I can take them up during this first live session. From the NPTEL team, you are also you have been also given access to one Google Doc to write your question, and I'm sure uh, you have seen that, and I can see one learner, Palak Maurya, giving two questions. So during this live session, what I'll do, I'll upload few. I'll first share some opening remarks about the course, and then um, first I'll share some opening remarks. Then maybe the question raised on the Google Doc, and hopefully on YouTube also. By then some of you will have some questions, and that I'll take them up. So I really thank you for enrolling in this course, and I hope you find this course enjoyable. Those of you who have just enrolled and not registered for this course, I strongly recommend you to register if you want to give the final exam. And the last date of registration is 28th of Feb. So please do it as soon as you can. The assessment, if you look at the course portal, is such that anyone can enroll and have access to the video and its content. But to write the exam, I mean final exam, and earn a certificate, you need to register for this course. So please do that if you have not done it already. Now, some of you may have concern related to assignment also. So many learners who have enrolled may, for some reason or the other, missed some assignments, or some of you may have enrolled it a bit later. So for whatever reason you have missed a few assignment, I encourage you to submit the rest of the assignment timely. I mean, don't wait for the last minute, because in the final assessment, from the assessment segment, we will have 8 of your best assignments. So every week, over the course of 12 weeks, you will get one assignment. And out of 12, we will include only 8 best assignment that you have submitted for the final assessment. So please submit the assignment, and even if you have missed a few, try to submit rest of the assignment as soon as before waiting for the last date. Now the second part is about the concern related to course material. So on the course portal, you have access to different content like video, its transcript, and the PPT. So these you should consider as the basic study material for this course. as far as exam and regular assignments are concerned. So if you are watching the video and looking at the transcript and the PPT, you will do well in the assignment and also in the final exam. So for the purpose of exam, that should be sufficient. However, if you are interested to know a little more or have a kind of in-depth understanding of a particular topic, you can also look at the reference part of each video lecture or each PPT, where depending upon your interest, you can further explore. Now, submitting the assignment will also help you in the final exam in a sense, and that's related to the third part of my opening remark is some of you may have concern related to final exam. So final exam will be computer-based MCQ exam, that is multiple choice question, which will be for 3 hours. And in the final exam, you have some questions directly from the assignment. So if you are submitting your assignment regularly, it will also help you in the final exam. And now the other parts in the final exam will be some which is based on your engagement with the video lecture. So if you have just watched the video, on the basis of recall, you should be able to answer such questions. Then there would be some questions which would be to test or assess your comprehension of a topic. So there would be these three sets of questions in the final exam. And sometimes you may find in some question there could be in your assessment more than one correct answer. So select only that answer which you find is the most appropriate. So for all the questions, there is only one correct answer. So while submitting or while selecting, read all the options carefully and select the one which is most appropriate response to that particular question. So these are the three opening remarks I thought of sharing them with you. Then on Google Doc, as I said, we have Palak Maurya um, asking two questions. One is about John Stuart Mill, how he is a bridge between the classical and modern liberals. Very good question, Palak. So if you check the video, hi Hussein, good to see you here also in this course. Look forward to your thoughts, ideas, or question. So responding to Palak's question on John Stuart Mill as a bridge between classical and the modern liberalism is, really a very good question, Palak. Now, if you recall, in the classical liberalism, we have focus on individual freedom or individual as a primary unit for analysis, and state is seen some kind of evil which should interfere as little as required in the interfere in the individual's life. So from the classical liberalism, Mill retain this idea of individual liberty, which is there in his own liberty, where he defend individual liberty uh, with only restriction through the harm principle. That is, individuals should be left free to do whatever he or she wishes to do. Only state and society can interfere in his choice or freedom from preventing him to doing harm to others. So in that sense, he retained from the classical liberalism this idea of individual liberty, limited rule of the state in the matters of individual life or the personal life of the citizen, and so on. Now, what connects Mill to the modern liberalism is this inability or his support for the state rule in, let's say, supporting those who cannot support themselves. For example, the marginal or the marginal section in the society, children, or maybe his justification for colonialism in a sense. So, in Mill's thought, you have the possibility of, let's say, welfare state or redistribution policies of the modern liberalism as well, and that's why we consider Mill as a bridge between the classical liberalism on the modern liberalism, which includes welfare schemes and give the state significant role in providing welfare services to the citizens, particularly to the marginal. So that's my response to your first question, Palak, and I hope that answer. The second is about the internship. So, Palak, the process or the guidelines related to internship you can check on the NPTEL website. So far, I can tell you is that internship is available only to a limited number of learners, probably those who have performed really well. So one condition is that you must complete the course. That means all the assignments and all the requirements, including the final exam. And even after completing, you must have performed really well to be eligible for the internship. So it is not offered to everyone. One can apply depending upon the consent of the subject matter expert and you fulfilling the minimum criteria or the guideline, you are eligible to internship. However, for further information on this, you can also use the discussion forum and also you can write to the NPTEL team at IIT Madras. So that's my response to Palak's question. I hope I have answered that. Now on the YouTube, Hussain Saifi. Hi everyone for joining here. Good evening. Hussein is asking, how is freedom different from liberty? And what is individual freedom and freedom as a pluralistic thought? And who among the political thinkers are important as far as freedom? We often use them. Yeah. So it's a very critical question. Um, Often we use the term freedom and liberty interchangeably, but there are conceptual difference. You can visit those lectures again, but the fundamental difference is the Isaiah Berlin or those who argue for, let's say, negative kind of liberty or negative notion of freedom, in a sense that I am free to the extent I am free from the external interference or external regulation. So my freedom is my, in a sense, license to do what I wish to do without external interference or restrictions. So that's a very libertarian conception of freedom or liberty. So that's one. Freedom is a positive, Sayabardin used it in a positive sense in his two conceptions of on liberty. But Hannah Arendt, even Michel Foucault, talks about freedom as not something which is given to you. It is something which enables you or which you experience while participating in something. So freedom is not from, but freedom is to. So this you can realize only, let's say, when you participate in the public life of the community. So the freedom is not like many libertarian would argue your license to do whatever pleases you or whatever you wish to do. But freedom is to be, let's say, a better citizen or a active participant in the public life of the nation. And while this is something you can realize only when you participate, take part, uh, political, social, cultural, and other forms of participation, where you get meaning, you get the experience of freedom while acting on it, not some kind of a priori given thing, and then you take it in a very different kind of interpretation. So freedom in comparison to liberty is something which enables the people to do something, to be a better citizen, to take part in the public life and so on. And through those acting upon what you have, you really acquire the sense of freedom and so on. So Hannah Arendt certainly, but also Michel Foucault and others talk about freedom in this sense. I hope that answered your question, Hussein, but very critical. There is no also a kind of compartmentalization, but these are the basic conceptual definition you can have, and then on that you build up different notions of freedom and liberty and so on. I'll be waiting for your questions and comments to take this live session further. So if you have any question, those of you who have joined late, you can use or you are using this YouTube, please type your question. And also you can use the link to join me directly. Thank you, and it's very critical question. And to all the learners, please use the discussion forum to share your ideas, to raise your doubts related to course or the weekly content. You can also give your feedback on the assignment or the questions and so on. So use the discussion forum more actively. That would be my suggestion. Yeah. So we have one more question from Dima Hojai. Hope I am pronouncing your name correctly, Dima. But forgive me if my pronunciation is not correct. So it is about what is negative liberty. So as I said that Isaiah Berlin in his two conceptions on liberty talks about this negative and positive liberty. So negative liberty is understood or interpreted as something which gives the individual right to do something without external restrictions or interference. So my negative liberty is to the extent I am free from any external regulation and interference. It is seen in a more narrow libertarian idea that I am free to do anything in my life, which has nothing to do with, let's say, society or other human being and so on. So that's the negative conception, negative liberty and its interpretation. But I encourage you to check the videos, uh, videos on liberty and freedom also. Yeah, there is one more question. Uh, this might be, is liberty absolute? If you uh, just recall what I was discussing through liberty or freedom or negative liberty, even you know you have, let's say, in John Stuart Mill, which I have discussed on liberty, there is a defense of absolute liberty there. That means uh, rather than the whole humanity silencing one individual is given right to silence the whole humanity if he has power or imagination or thought. So in that sense, John Stuart Mill is the defender of absolute freedom or liberty, let's say. But even there, he is imposing a restriction by saying that, uh, if that leads to harm, then using the notion of harm principle, he imposed certain restriction. Otherwise, he is a defender of absolute freedom. But in political theory, you have, within, let's say, Republican tradition or other tradition, there are reasonable restrictions on the freedom, or let's say you can enjoy your rights or freedom within the limits of law. So law or legality or morality or public order, these are some of the reasonable restrictions. So it would be, if you understand by liberty your license to get something done, or let's say freedom of speech and expression. But if that freedom of speech and expression hurts the sentiment or incite violence, then there could be legal restrictions to that, or there could be, reasonable restrictions to that. So of course, to answer, liberty is not absolute. It is subjected to certain reasonable restrictions. It cannot, be something which allow you to do anything you like. So that's my answer. Hi Palak, yeah, I responded to your question. Thank you. Okay. Hussein Safi is asking about, okay, very very it's very vast kind of, it would require very long response or debate, but basic thing I'll answer about, political ideology and political thought. And within political thought, you have different streams like women empowerment, feminism, and feminist, and so on. So, what differentiate political thought from political ideologies? This, which I have discussed in the first few lectures, I guess. So you can revisit them. But let's say for this purpose of live session, look at ideology as something which is a kind of closed worldview, where you have a kind of doctrinaire belief about social and political issues, and you are blinded by those doctrinaire belief. Political thought is maybe at the individual level, or if you are talking about a school, a set of thinkers pursuit of search after truth, or search for, let's say, better quality or better life or better dignity or more rights, and some sort of such inquiry or search. So political thought in that sense is very different from political ideology. Political ideology is what, a set of beliefs or a kind of closed worldview which motivates certain groups, certain individuals, certain parties to act in the practical life. So ideology matter, and ideology motivates different kind of groups and individual to act upon certain beliefs and values. Political thought, on the other hand, is the result of individual or a group of individuals inquiry into, let's say, better life, better society, or a just system, and so on. Empowerment, feminism, and feminist. Let's say feminism, how you look at it, it's an ideology which aims to empower the women, and the feminist can be men and women who are driven by this ideology to not just women empowerment but also create a society which is gender just, which include men and women both. So their understanding is quite different and there. So that would be my response, immediate response to your question. But these are really very critical question, and the scope of which is uh, really broad. So if you have any further question, you use the discussion forum, and also you can write the response now. I'll be happy to respond. Okay, Palak is asking about Rawls' theory of justice and its relation with social contract. So, Palak, I have discussed it in my lecture on John Rawls. So you can check that he has two principles of justice, and also he used a kind of language which uh, which which is derived from the social contract tradition. So you check that lecture on John Rawls, and if you still have some question, I'll be happy to discuss. And we are going to have two more live sessions after this. So you are welcome to join me during those live sessions, and also in between use the discussion forum for clarifying any um, dots or question that you have. So, Palak, are you asking about maybe original position, or what is in your mind? So two principle of justice is like I have explained in the lecture, that first, that maximum freedom should be given to everyone. However, the difference principle says that if you need to deviate from that and give some preferential treatment to some groups, it should be for the advantage of, let's say, least for the advantage of least disadvantaged groups. So justification for any deviation from the universal principle has to be justified on the condition of this least disadvantaged groups. Now, I have also discussed the idea of original position or the wheel of ignorance, where individual is not sure of his or her position while deliberating upon a theory of justice. So in that sense, he is using the language of social contract tradition. It's a kind of a hypothetical situation of a state of nature. We know historically there was no state of nature, but in theorization, they use this hypothetical state, how individual will behave in the absence of his knowledge about his position in the society or any authority or government or polity and so on. And then they build up their theory of justice or sovereignty and so on. So in that sense, he uses the language of social contract, particularly his idea of the wheel of ignorance. Thank you, Hussein and Palak, for your question. I hope that answer. So those of you who joined late during this live session, I would like to repeat that this video and other study materials are there on your course course uh, course portal. You can revisit them and check the details. I would like to repeat myself by saying that those of you who have enrolled and not yet registered, please register. Only then you will be able to write the final exam. So please do if you have not done it already. Okay, do we have any more question? I can wait for 1 or 2 minutes. If there are no question, then we can conclude this live session. Hussein, yeah, very good question, Hussein Safi. Sir, why is there so much dichotomy in various theories, be it political science versus public administration, and should not the idea of a virtuous king be considered as primitive thought in modern thinking? Of course, I mean, now we have evolved to refute any idea of one person solving all our misery. So the idea of the one person capable of solving the problem of humans is not really in tune with the modern sensibilities based on democracy, popular participation in the process of governance, and so on. So the second part is quite clear that there is no belief. Of course, the rise of populism and right-wing politics across the world revive some sort of messianic leadership and so on. But still, the idea of one person solving all our miseries contestable. Now, the first part of your question is really something which we need to discuss is why there is so much of dichotomy, whether it is liberty or equality or justice or democracy, state or power. So we have discussed this in the video lectures also, that these ideas or concepts are merely a window to the world to make sense of our society, to make sense of our polity, and also help us assess what is going in the right direction and what is going in the wrong direction, and how we can correct the wrongs which is happening. So only when you have the notion of, let's say, justice or liberty or democracy, you will be able to not just understand how the world is going, but where it is going right or wrong. So theory enables us in assessing the world we inhabit. But the concepts themselves are not something which is, universally accepted. So we connect the concepts with different ideology, different thinkers, liberalism, Marxism, structuralism, post-structuralism, so on and so forth. So these concepts, then there are essentially contested concepts. There would not be any universal agreement on the definition of any concepts, except the word. Let's say liberty, they will all talk, but what liberty mean or what justice mean, thinkers from different schools would differ, and they should differ. So different perspectives enable us to understand a particular concept, a particular ideas in its complexities more carefully, rather than just having one definition and then refusing to acknowledge or even engage with other definition and other interpretation of that ideas. That would be perhaps incorrect way of engaging with theory or ideas. So to respond that it is in the very nature of these concepts and ideas that they will be contested, or there would be dichotomy. So whether it is in political science or in public administration, you will come across terms or ideas which are essentially contested by the very nature of these ideas. So, but knowing different interpretation, different way of understanding these ideas from different schools, make us more informed, or empower us to make sense of our world or society in perhaps better manner. So that would be my response to you, Hussein. But thank you for these really very uh, very important questions. All right. Any more question? I don't see discussion forum. All right. So I'll give you one more minute, perhaps, to think about your questions and type your question. If there are none, then I'll conclude this live session, and hopefully we'll have more discussion through the discussion forum and also in the next live sessions. All right, then let's conclude this live session. Thank you for joining me today. For those learners who have enrolled and not yet registered, I encourage you to register for the final exam, because you cannot give the final exam unless you have registered for this course. And the last date is 28th, so please do so. Now, if you have missed some assignment, please submit rest of the assignment, because for the final assessment, we will be including only 8 based assignments of yours. So please submit the assignments regularly and in time, and use the discussion forum for any questions, comments that you may have. And all the study materials are available on your course portal. Utilize them, and if you have any question, use the discussion forum and also the live session to clarify them. Thank you. Thank you for joining me today.